Good morning. No change in position. South Korea will not backtrack from allowing anti-North Korea propaganda leaflets. The search continues. French authorities are combing through areas near the town the two terror suspects reportedly robbed a gas station. It's the first Korean film in the spotlight that kicks off just next week. Chronicle of a Blood Merchant has many people talking. And it's winter vacation for kids across Korea, so instead of staying indoors, how about taking a trip to Ansan? On Korea Today, Friday, January 9th, 2015.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And a good Friday morning. Thank you for joining us on Korea Today. I'm Kim Young alongside Kim Min-jung and Jin-ju.
Good morning. Following the terror attack on French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo, which killed 12 people, the entire country of France is mourning the victims of this horrific and tragic incident.
Not just France only, but the entire world. The rest of the world is now in mourning. And on Thursday, the city of the lights at the Eiffel Tower, really the symbol of France, were turned off to honor those who've lost their lives during the terror attack.
That's right. Metro trains ground to a halt for 1 minute of haunting silence, and President Francois Hollande ordered flags down or flown at half-staff as well.
All right, we'll get more details on this story with our Eunice Kim, who joins us later on in the show. But first, let's move on to our top stories for the day. Seoul's unification minister says South Korea will not backtrack from its initial stance of allowing activists to distribute anti-North Korea propaganda leaflets to guarantee their freedom of expression. Appearing at the Parliament's Foreign Affairs and Unification Committee on Thursday, Minister Ryu Gil-jae said it would be inappropriate for North Korea to bring up the issue as a precondition to inter-Korean dialogue, and that it maintains its position. Minister Ryu did, however, add the government will take appropriate measures to ensure the safety of residents living near the border if necessary. Leaflet campaigns by civic groups in the South have been a source of tension between the two Koreas, with Pyongyang recently demanding that Seoul clarify its position on several prickly issues, including the leaflet campaigns.
And despite strained bilateral relations stemming from Japan's portrayal of its historical wrongdoings, senior officials from Seoul and Tokyo agreed to boost efforts to continue economic cooperation. Korea's foreign ministry said the high-level dialogue held during an economic consultative meeting in Seoul was to review and reaffirm the two neighbors' economic relations in their 50th year of normalizing diplomatic ties. The meeting comes amid icy bilateral relations stemming from Japan's ongoing denial of its wartime atrocities. The Korean official said holding such a frank, constructive, high-level discussion in the beginning of the year in itself is a positive sign for the two neighbors. The two countries have regularly held the consultative meeting since its inception in 1999.
And the number of people registered at local clinics to receive help in quitting smoking has seen a significant jump in the first week of the new year. According to the Health and Welfare Ministry on Thursday, the number of people registered at 254 anti-smoking centers across the country stood at 36,700 in the first 7 days, jumping threefold from the same period last year. Over a period of 6 months, the clinics provide various measures to help people stub out their bad habits, including counseling and providing nicotine patches. The ministry attributes the growing interest in quitting smoking to the near twofold rise in cigarette prices and the expansion of smoke-free areas, including restaurants, bars, and most other indoor facilities starting in the new year.
South Korea, the U.S., and Japan, for the first time ever, have signed a military information sharing pact, which will allow the three countries to share intelligence related to North Korea's nuclear and missile programs. Today, we're going to take a closer look at this pact, how it's different from the agreements Seoul signed with Washington and Tokyo in the past, and some of the concerns over the deal. And joining us now is Arirang News' Kim Hyun-bin to tell us more. Good morning, Hyun-bin.
Good morning, Jin-ju. North Korea has taken great strides to improve its ballistic missile and nuclear capabilities. For a better example, let's take a look at the map. In its latest white paper, Seoul's defense ministry said the North has significantly expanded the range of the Taepodong ballistic missile. In 2012, it was judged that this missile could reach Hawaii at a push, but now Seoul says it could reach the western seaboard of the United States. So as you can see, Pyongyang has been working hard over the last few years, and this has Seoul, Washington, and Tokyo on edge. Now let's see how this new defense intelligence deal, which didn't come easy, that I might add, will be better able to counter North Korea's ballistic missile and nuclear threats.
South Korea, the United States, and Japan planned to sign a similar intel sharing agreement in 2012. But those plans were shelved due to opposition from the South Korean public and lawmakers. So what changed to make the deal a reality just a couple years later?
2012년하고 비교해보면 지금 상황이 많이 바뀌었어요.
The current situation is different from 2012. At that time, South Koreans were against any security-related cooperation with Japan due to Tokyo's distortion of history and its territorial claims on Korea's Dokdo Island. However, South Koreans are more willing to overlook that now, considering North Korea's strength in nuclear and missile capabilities. Pyongyang has taken big steps towards miniaturizing nuclear warheads and other aspects of its program.
This new pact changes the way the three nations exchange defense information. The agreement means Washington will now be able to relay information from South Korea or Japan to the other country if it has the consent of the country providing that information. Before the agreement, Seoul and Tokyo only shared their intelligence with Washington, and there was no link between Seoul and Tokyo. Now South Korea will have better access to Japan's advanced surveillance capabilities, which includes airborne early warning and control systems and Aegis destroyer radar capabilities.
If South Korea is privy to Japan's state-of-the-art surveillance data and new information, Seoul will be able to better predict North Korea's command movements and quickly detect North Korean missile launches.
North Korea and China have both raised objections to the intel sharing agreement.
There are two big reasons missile defense system, and it's concerned the three nations are moving towards a military alliance. But Seoul is well protected under the Korea-US alliance, so a trilateral military alliance is unnecessary.
So the concerns that these neighboring countries have is that this agreement could be the basis of a possible deployment of Washington's THAAD missile defense system to the Korean Peninsula. And this has also been a source of controversy in South Korea as well. So the question is there any possibility of Seoul adopting this THAAD system down the road?
Well, I talked to some defense ministry officials and some experts about the matter, and they don't expect the THAAD system being implemented in South Korea, but they did stress a decision regarding this is unrelated to this intel sharing agreement. And the South Korean government keeps on reiterating on many different occasions saying that they're currently developing its own missile defense system called the Korea Air Missile Defense, which is more suitable on the Korean Peninsula. And that is scheduled to be deployed in the early 2020s.
So some people might wonder, does this pact give Korea and Japan unlimited access to each other's defense-related intel at all times?
No, Junju. We got to keep in mind that with the new agreement, Korea and Japan will not have access at all times. But think of it more like a give and take kind of deal. And by this, I mean Seoul will have to provide high-value information to Tokyo in order to get some information back from Japan. Now, this agreement is in the early stages, so there needs to be more working-level talks between the three nations to iron out the details.
All right, Hyun-bin, thank you for that wrap-up this morning.
Good morning. It's time to run through the front pages of your newspapers. Now, all of the local papers, again, following the developments of the deadly terror attack in Paris at the French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo. Let's go ahead and begin with a look at 중앙일보's top story. And the headline says, terrorized tolerance. Now, by tolerance, the paper is talking about how France has had a history of being generous and understanding of other people's thoughts and lifestyles, respecting different cultures and religions. It was the French spirit of tolerance that made the country accept the most number of Muslims into the country across Europe. However, with the latest terror attack by Islamist extremists on top of an ongoing economic slump, the Daily says anti-Islam sentiments have been growing rapidly among the public. Now, in turn, the paper stresses such an essence of tolerance has become increasingly threatened in French society today as well. Meanwhile, the Daily also shows a bunch of the satirical cartoons that the magazine had carried. A couple examples here. The second one at the top depicts Charlie Hebdo kissing a Muslim. And this one here on the side has a Muslim saying 100 lashes if you are not dying of laughter. Now, leaving that issue there, we'll go to some local headlines on 조선일보. This one says, committee passes Kim Hyun-bin bill to block corruption by public officials. So an anti-corruption bill was passed by a subcommittee of the National Assembly yesterday, more than 17 months after it was originally introduced. Looking at the sub-headline here, the proposed Kim Hyun-bin bill, if passed, can hold some 1,500 government officials and their family members accountable if they are caught taking funds or valuables worth more than 1 million won, or about $910 in bribes, even if they are not in exchange for favors. Now, the Legislation and Judiciary Committee said it's planning to submit the bill to a plenary session of the National Assembly by Monday next week. Now, moving on to a headline here on Pyongyang Shinmun, following up on the education minister's words from yesterday. The title says that same history should be taught in the classrooms, and that is what Education Minister Hwang Ui-yo said at a debate conference yesterday. Earlier in the week, he also highlighted the importance of providing unified education for the two Koreas in the future. And yesterday, he emphasized that it is the state's responsibility to teach history in the classroom in one integrated manner. He added that the specifics of the plans for this will soon be announced following consultations with the government. Now, finally, looking at some news on the economy, this one towards the bottom of the Mail Business newspaper. We'll go to the headline here. And this one about Samsung, it says Samsung Electronics fourth quarter operating a profit at $4.7 billion. Now, shares in Samsung Electronics rebounded yesterday as its operating profit likely exceeded $4.7 billion in the fourth quarter last year. And this number beats market projections of $4.4 billion. However, experts are saying that the company still has a long way to go, even though it has emerged from the worst. Now, if you remember, the company hit a lowest record result in 3 years in the third quarter of last year. But gathering the momentum of the successful rebound, the firm has planned a strategy for more aggressive growth sales and profit for this year. Now, that was a look at our local headlines this Friday, and coming up are the stock numbers from Thursday.
All right, heading into the weekend, we're hoping for some warmer temperatures, but it is still pretty cold. So we actually have Song-cho. We sent her indoors for a bit.
Exactly. The past few days have been so cold. We felt it was a little unfair for her to have to report outside all the time. So this time she joins us from indoors. Let's go over to her right now.
Just for today.
Just for today. Good morning to you, Song-cho.
Young and Minjung, good morning to you. Thank you for sending me indoors. I'm reporting live from Sodewon Youth Center because I'm going to go swimming at an indoor swimming pool that they have over here later in the show. What's better to combat the cold weather than exercising like these people over here, right? Can you believe it? It's so early in the morning. But yes, frigid conditions continue this morning, though not as cold as yesterday. Temperatures are hovering around -6°C here in Seoul. Cold wave advisories are still in place in northern parts of Gyeonggi-do, Gangwon-do, and Chungcheongbuk-do provinces. So I say, bundle up on your way out this morning. The skies across the peninsula are mostly clear, but as we move into the day, an area of high pressure will drift away, bringing in clouds to the central regions. These clouds will act like a blanket and retain heat underneath, so temperatures will be pushed back up above freezing this afternoon and provide more comfortable conditions for people to stay outside. The only concern, though, will be fine dust concentration in the air increasing temporarily, raising the alert level to bad. So people with respiratory problems, children, and the elderly should avoid staying outdoors for a long period of time. And with that, let's take a closer look at today's temperature readings around the nation. Midday highs are all in single digits except for Jeju at 10 degrees. Seoul will stay just at 2°C. Conditions will be clear and relatively mild all throughout the weekend. Back to you, Minjang.
Now, French police are focusing their manhunt for the two suspects still on the run following the horrific Paris terrorist attack. And we'll get the latest on this situation with our Eunice Kim, who joins us from the news center. Good morning to you, Eunice.
Good morning.
I understand that the police are now combing through an area in northern France.
Yeah, that's right, Minjung. The focus is on the region of Picardy. That's where the two brothers, Sharif and Said Kouachi, reportedly robbed a gas station. A gas station attendant reported to police that the pair had threatened him and took gas and food before driving away late Thursday morning. Officers have sealed off the village of Longport and are going house to house in search of the Kouachi brothers in their 30s and described as armed and dangerous. They are, of course, being hunted for shooting dead 12 people at the French satirist magazine Charlie Hebdo on Wednesday, including its editor, prominent cartoonist, and security detail. In a separate incident on Thursday, a policewoman was fatally gunned down in a southern suburb of Paris by a suspect described as wearing black and a bulletproof vest. Authorities say they found no link, though, between this incident to the assault on the magazine. Meanwhile, France held a moment of silence at noon local time on its rare day of national mourning for the 12 victims, as well as for the free speech they had stood up for. The iconic Eiffel Tower, as you see there, was also dimmed for a time at 8 p.m. local time as a vigil continued at the Place de la République. In other news, the United States is set to close several military bases across Europe, 15 in total, amid shrinking budgets and as Washington shifts its focus to Asia. Much of the closures will be of smaller bases described as remnants of the Cold War. The number of troops will remain relatively the same at more than 60,000, mostly in Germany, Italy, and the UK. Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel confirmed the move as the Pentagon said it will save the U.S. military some $500 million a year. Assistant Defense Secretary Derek Chollet said the adjustments would not affect America's ability to meet its commitments to allies and partners in the region.
And finally, Indonesian search teams will try to begin lifting the tail of the ill-fated Air Asia Flight 8501 when daylight hits the Java Sea later today.
That's right. Recovery teams had, of course, identified that tail on Wednesday, and they attempted to salvage it yesterday, but ran into bad weather and poor conditions. Let's go ahead and first hear from the Indonesian Navy diver who led the diving team that had identified the plane on the seabed.
The plane was split up, so the geosurvey's observation shows the position is flat on the seabed. It's no longer shaped like a plane.
Split and flat. Indonesia's Search and Rescue Agency coordinator Supriyadi said he'll use a balloon to try to prop up the tail in today's operation. Vessels with heavy lifting cranes with a capacity to lift up to 70 tons are also on standby. Head of the rescue agency, Bambang Solistio, added that they would be used to lift the section if necessary, and added that finding the missing bodies, was still the main focus of his operation. The tail section, which of course could hold the plane's black box, is believed to be at a depth of about 30 meters and some 30 kilometers away from the plane's last known location.
Sounds like they have a busy weekend ahead, the search crews.
That's right.
All right. Thanks a lot, Eunice.
You bet.
And still ahead this morning on Korea Today, we'll take a closer look at the first Korean film in the spotlight in the new year that kicks off just next week. Chronicle of a Blood Merchant has many people talking, being an adaptation from a global bestseller and a film that puts actor Ha Jung-woo in front and behind the camera. So stay tuned.
A prominent social commerce company in Korea is facing backlash for allegedly exploiting its probationary employees.
That's right. And angry online users are vowing to boycott the business. We'll find out more with our Seomi Sorang, who joins us in the studio. Good morning to you.
Good morning. One of the hottest issues online right now. So if we rewind back to last month in December, the company hired 11 potential workers, 11 job applicants, and put them on a trial period of 2 weeks. Now, all the workers worked very hard, up to 14 hours a day, landing deal after deal with various local businesses for their future employer. They were reportedly encouraged to keep giving 200% and even told that they'll soon be hired permanently. But at the end of the 2 weeks, none of the 11 workers were hired because, quote, none of them met our standards. Word got out, there was public outcry. The company then turned around and said that they will hire all 11 workers. So let's see the responses. Did the 11 suddenly pass minimum requirements now that the public knows about it? Using cheap labor, then spitting them out, and also a ton of responses vowing to boycott the company.
I see disgusting over there. Now, I heard that they were paid less than $46 or about 50,000 won, that is.
Yeah.
And isn't that less than the minimum wage here in the country?
Per day, you mean?
Yeah, per day.
Won per day.
So you're absolutely right. And
For 14 hours.
For 14 hours. So you're absolutely right. That's the other problem. So even at the minimum wage, 14 hours means at least $62 US. So now that word got out, the company has also turned around. They've backtracked and said that they will now compensate anyone who can prove that they've worked overtime.
A bit shady.
Shady. Now on to some positive news this time. Korean researchers have come up with a new way to detect cancer cell activity. So the team at Yonsei Medical University found a novel way to make a nanoparticle, an organometal nanohybrid that changes color depending on the activity of cancer cells. Now, when they injected this nanohybrid into the bloodstream of rats with cancer, they were able to use MRI and optical imaging to find exactly when, where, and how active the cancer cells were.
So this will be really useful for early detection or any kind of treatment for the cancer.
You're absolutely right. And we are still only at animal study stage, but if found successful in human trials, it means a new non-invasive method of detecting cancer cell activity. So very promising.
Right.
And next, the Fair Trade Commission announced yesterday that one of its plans for the coming 3 years is to identify overseas online shopping websites that are frequently associated with customer complaints, compile them into a list and make the list public to protect future clients or consumers. And wrapping up, Korail started taking reservations online yesterday for the new A trains or Cheongseon Arirang trains that will run from Cheongnam Station in Seoul to Aoraji Station in Gangwon Province. Now, these trains very colorful. They join 3 other trains, you know, the DMZ, OV, and S trains designed specifically for inland travel. So there's expected to be a very high demand for them.
When do we know when this will kick off?
Well, they said they'll start trial runs next week, but the official run starts in 2 weeks, so January 22nd.
And do you get a discount if you sing the song on this train?
Maybe.
Or for anybody working for Arirang TV.
That's a good one.
The same one.
You guys try and let me know.
All right, thank you, Ms. Rai.
You're welcome.
And still to come on Korea Today, it's winter vacation for kids across the country. So instead of staying indoors, how about taking a trip to somewhere out of the city? Ansan is a stone's throw away from Seoul and has everything for the family to enjoy. And of course, the place has some great hearty dishes awaiting the crowd. Joe McPherson will join us later in the show with more and some of those dishes.
And TGI Friday, everyone, as we kick things off with the 2015 Asian Cup, which kicks off later today. Now, for the Korean national football team, their first group stage match kicks off on Saturday against Oman in their first step towards trying to win their first Asian Cup title in 55 years. Now, ranking-wise, the 69th ranked Korean national team is ahead of the 93rd ranked Oman and also has a winning record of 3 wins and a loss. And with some of the key players in Oman injured, it looks to be a rather smooth sailing for the Taeguk Warriors. But Oman showed some offensive power, going undefeated during the Asian Cup qualifier, winning 4 matches and drawing twice while scoring 7 goals and allowing just 1. But of course, with Ki Sung-young leading the way as the captain and Lee Chung-young as the vice captain, the national team looks to get a jump start on their quest for the Asian Cup title. Now, if Kim Hyun-bin is the figure queen, then 18-year-old Park So-yeon will soon be called a figure princess, especially with the kind of performance she showed during the 2015 National Figure Skating Championship in Seoul. Now, with many considering her the favorite to win the women's single gold during the National Figure Skating Championship, she didn't disappoint on the first day of the competition, scoring a respectable 60.40 points during the short program and taking the lead. With the free skating performance taking place later today, she hopes to win her first gold medal in the event, with her mentor Kim Hyun-bin set to hand out the medals as well. Now, the interest in Major League Baseball here in the nation has skyrocketed ever since Lee Hyun-jin arrived in LA 3 years ago and dominated the Major League hitters. And tomorrow, he is leaving to LA once again in preparations for the 2015 season. Now, the hefty lefty who spent a busy off-season in Korea will leave to LA tomorrow as he begins his private training before spring training begins in February. The 28-year-old will arrive in Los Angeles and begin working out at the Boris Corporation Training Center, then join the Dodgers in Arizona for spring camp. Now, winning 13 and 14 games respectively in his first 2 seasons, Lee Hyun-jin looks to win at least 15 games in the 2015 season. Now, Lee Hyun-jin became the first pitcher in the KBO to head over to the majors, and now Nexen Heroes Kang Jung-ho hopes to become the first position player from the KBO to play in the majors. But is he close to a deal with the Pirates? Well, his agent Alan Nero certainly thinks so, expressing confidence that they will have an agreement with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, Nero added that the process has been positive and that General Manager Neil Huntington has been trying very hard to come to the table with a deal. Meanwhile, it's reported that Kang Jung-ho is seeking a 4-year deal worth around $15 million. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
Oh, those icicles are so cute. They're growing up.
How does that happen? It's just little droplets and it just keeps on forming.
And they'll meet in the middle, I suppose. All right, well, our Chun Song-cho is standing by indoors this time. She was at a swimming pool, I think, or was a fitness center before.
One of the most amazing things is that there's people out there at this time exercising and dedication. And speaking of that, are you gaining some muscle?
How is that coming along?
It's not coming along well. I keep on forgetting doing my weightlifting session, but we'll go over to our Chun Song-cho, who's standing by at the swimming pool with a lot of people who are there keeping their New Year's resolution.
Good morning to you. Over to you again.
Hello again, guys. this is an indoor swimming pool at Seoul Youth Center. And as you can see, it looks quite busy over here already with all these people. All these early birds are starting their day with some swimming before they head out to work or school. And I want to join them in the water right now, but of course, before that, you gotta do some warm-ups and stretches. So I'm gonna join this group over here. All right, so all these simple exercises, right now we're doing the knee exercise. So all these simple exercises can really prep up your body for swimming later on and prevent injuries later on. And all right, so you gotta start from the parts of your body that are the furthest from your heart. Now we're doing the hip. Okay, actually I've done enough already before I came on air, so I'm gonna join them, jump into the water right now. Okay, the water is just cold enough to really wake me up. So all these people are getting their swimming lessons right now, and as we all know, swimming is a really good cardio exercise that really uses the entire body. You're constantly moving your limbs, paddling to stay afloat and also to go forward. So it's really great for building up your stamina and endurance, and really it's perfect for all ages. As since we're already always floating in the water, we're not exerting pressure on your joints as much as, let's say, when you're exercising on the ground. Okay, so and then also different strokes. Different strokes affect different parts of your body in different ways. So let's say when you're kicking like this, okay, that was my attempt to do backstroke, but when you're kicking like this, it's really great for your bottom and thighs. And then when you're doing actually breaststroke like this, we're going to do this. Oh, am I? Butterfly, which I can't really demonstrate. It's really great for toning your abs and then also slimming down around your waistline. I think I'm already out of breath and maybe it's a sign that I should wrap up now. It feels great though and really extra healthy since it's so early in the morning. We're already halfway through winter and I'm sure there are many folks out there who are feeling the extra weight put on these days, including me. So what about you swim your way to fitness this winter? It's never too late. This has been Ansan Korea Today.
Look who's quite the swimmer.
She's not bad. She's not bad. Maybe she could offer us a couple of swimming lessons and help Jinju with building some muscle there.
Much needed muscles.
All right, it's 32 minutes past the hour on Korea Today. We're going to go to our entertainment news. Now, 2014 was a pretty big year for the Korean box office when it comes to films, including the VODs after it got released. You know, you don't even see the video stores anymore.
Exactly.
Who rents those, right? And Debbie Won joins us this morning to talk more about films to look out for in 2015. Good morning.
Good morning, Debbie.
That's right. So 2015 there will be plenty of good movies to check out this year. And starting us off will be The Chronicle of a Blood Merchant, which hits theaters next Thursday on the 15th. So let's take a closer look at this film that's got everyone talking.
The first film to create a major buzz this year is Chronicle of a Blood Merchant, or 화삼관, which is scheduled to hit the theaters next week. It's based on a global bestseller and has a star-studded cast. Not only that, it's actor Ha Jung-woo's first commercial film as he further puts his roots down as a film director. This is a Q&A session where you can get a glimpse of just how much anticipation there is ahead of the premiere.
대구에서 부산에서 왔습니다.
I'm really excited about Ha Jung-woo's acting this time.
To make the setting more intimate, the session was held at a small theater. The two are here more as mentors for their fans rather than as top movie stars.
꿈을 꼭 찾아야 된다는 그런 강박이 생겨서 저는 제가 좋아하는 걸 하기 때문에 아직까지 배우란 직업이 너무 설레이고 너무 좋아요.
20대 초반다운 생각과 생활과 시간을 보냈으면 전 좋겠다라는 생각이 들어요.
This is how Ha Jung-woo and Ha Ji-won kicked off their promotion for the film by trying something different, like opening up the floor to their fans.
삼촌, 저 장가 가고 싶어요.
The movie Hosam-gwan tells the story of a carefree but hot-headed protagonist who marries a striking beauty and goes through a once-in-a-lifetime challenge with their 3 sons.
피를 팔면 돈을 많이 주나?
The main character Hosam-gwan sells his blood to support his family. And through this, the movie is set to depict the fatherly image of men at the time and family bonds, along with some good laughs and heartwarming drama. The original novel the movie is based on is a global bestseller written by Chinese author Yu Hua. He became famous for his detailed account of life during the Cultural Revolution. In 1994, Chinese director Zhang Yimou created a film based on a different book written by Yu Hua, To Live. It swept up awards at the Golden Globe Awards and the Cannes Film Festival, captivating audiences around the world. Thanks to such popularity, Chronicle of a Blood Merchant has also been sought out by many filmmakers for 17 years. But there's a reason why it was finally made possible in Korea.
Wi-Hua is a fan of Ha Jung-woo's work, and after watching all his movies, he believed he would be the perfect match. So that's why he agreed to this adaptation.
Even though the film was still in production during the Cannes Film Festival, many film buyers showed a great deal of interest, and the movie has garnered much attention in other countries. So what was it that attracted so many people to this comedy film? The first noticeable element is the star-studded cast in the movie. The main lead Ha Jung-woo has taken on many different roles in the past as a cold-blooded serial killer and a mob leader, not to mention his memorable performances in comic gigs. And he is now considered one of the most trusted talents in the industry. Then there's Hosam-gwan's wife Hong-nan, played by actress Ha Ji-won.
이 허홍란이란 캐릭터를 연기할 수 있는 배우는 아마 지원 씨가 유일하지 않을까라는 생각을 처음 했던 것 같아요.
네.
그게 처녀 시절의 역할도 해야 되고 세 아이의 엄마 역할도 해야 되고 해야 했기 때문에 지원 씨가 그러한 스펙트럼을 가지고 있다라고 생각이 들어서 지원 씨한테 제일 먼저 제안을 드린 거였고.
She has captivated the viewers not only with her movies, but through the TV dramas she starred in. And recently, Ha Ji-won has mesmerized some international fans with her performance in the TV series Empress Ki. Although the two actors have played all kinds of different roles in the past, it's their first time to be cast as a father and a mother. So many are wondering what kind of chemistry the two will create on the silver screen. And of course, it's not just about the main acts. The supporting actors, who are some of the best known in the industry, are also adding to the high anticipation for the movie. The second reason why Hosam-gwan is at the center of attention is because it's Ha Jung-woo's second go as a film director. In his first film, Fasten Your Seatbelt, Ha Jung-woo received praise for his unique humor as well as some great reviews that made it hard to believe that he had just put out his debut film. And this is why he has been able to bring some of the best names on board, despite the fact that Hosam-gwan will be his first commercial film.
롤러코스터 7분 정도짜리를 보다가 하고 싶다고 그랬어요. 다음 작품 때 한번 같이 했으면 좋겠네요.
현장에서 배우의 마음을 누구보다도 너무나 많이 아시니까 제가 미처 생각하기도 전에 너무나 꼼꼼하게 다 챙겨주셔서.
But there were also difficulties that came with juggling acting and directing at the same time.
레디 액션은 조 감독이 하고요. 컷은 제가 하죠. 컷. 처음엔 많이 민망하고 상대 배우도 민망해하고 스태프들도 키득키득대고.
So within the industry, why is Ha Jung-woo receiving so much spotlight?
He received a lot of good feedback for his talent, competence, and his unique take on things, so you can say he was recognized for the potential that he has as a film director.
Along with other names like Yoo Ji-tae and Koo Hae-sun, who went from Hallyu actors to film directors, Ha Jung-woo is considered a next-generation movie director will bring new changes to the Korean cinema. The anticipated film Chronicle of the Blood Merchant Hosamgwan will hit theaters next week. And people are keeping an eye on what kind of laughter, heartfelt moments, and impact the movie will have on the industry.
I have to say, Ha Jung-woo is one of my favorite actors.
You're gonna go
Which
see
one is it? So it's Hyun-bin, Ha Jung-woo?
I'll go with Ha Jung-woo.
So Hyun-bin or Ha Jung-woo, really?
Ha Jung-woo. No, as you saw in the report, this film is based on one of China's leading novels, Chronicle of a Blood Merchant. And I heard that a lot of directors from not only China, but the US, Europe, and Japan have asking the author of this novel if they could turn this novel into a film, but the author only gave the okay sign to Ha Jung-woo.
That's right. So just like you, the author was a huge fan of Ha Jung-woo. That's why he finally accepted the Korean production team's offer to turn this novel into a film after 17 years. The first book was actually published in 1996.
And not just the author, but these actors and actresses, especially Ha Jung-woo and Ha Ji-won, the main characters of this film, they are pretty big in the industry, and also there's talk of them going into Hollywood as well. So really a lot of expectations on this movie.
That's right. So Ha Jung-woo and Ha Ji-won are one of maybe the most top established actors in Korea, and they are making their debut into international scenes as well. For example, Ha Jung-woo already made his global debut in a film in 2007 called Never Forever, which was jointly produced by teams from US and Korea. And for Ha Ji-won, she has actually already signed on with an American talent agency, so she's been auditioning for some Hollywood roles.
And Ha Jung-woo actually, he speaks pretty good English, to be honest with you. He's been in several roles where he actually played a Korean American on Fly High, that 국가대표. Yeah, so he does speak good English there. Speaking of Ha Jung-woo, or actually directorial debuts by actors, we've heard of some Hollywood stars such as Clint Eastwood, Ben Affleck, and recently Angelina Jolie as well. Now there was a lot of Korean actors that are doing the same thing, right?
Exactly. So we have actors like Yoo Ji-tae, who got big from the famous movie Old Boy, and actress Koo Hae-sun, who made her name through a popular TV drama called Boys Over Flowers. So both of these actors are becoming actors turning into directors, but Ha Jung-woo is the first actor turned director to make a commercial film.
A feature film, right? There's been some short films that were made and independent films that were made by Yoo Ji-tae and also Koo Hae-sun.
The ones that are made by Yoo Ji-tae and Koo Hae-sun didn't do so well in theaters, in fact.
And late last year, we saw Ode to My Father being released, and it's also set in the 1950s and 60s as this Hosamgwan film.
That's right.
So why is this trend getting so popular?
So these retro films that take back in the old days tend to have this theme of nostalgia that tend to appeal to all sorts of different age groups, and I think that's the main success factors as to why they become so popular.
I think it's also a time back to going back to the innocent times, the times when things weren't as
simpler,
simpler times.
You look back and you reminisce. So
this means that we get a lot of calls from our parents telling us to go watch that film. Exactly. You told us that story.
I told you about that.
To my father. A lot of fathers out there, just getting all teary.
Johnny, you must watch this film.
All right, thank you so much, Debbie.
My pleasure.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the top 5 on the Korean pop music charts. But you know what? A lot of those songs that are in the top 5 this week are old songs from the 1990s, from simpler times.
Exactly.
We're going to look at that.
It is winter vacation here in Korea for children, and this means quite painful time for the parents because once they're indoors, try to have fun.
Please go back to school.
Exactly. And it's tough staying home, so a lot of families are venturing outside, and one place we're going to introduce you to today will really be of interest to many families out there, right?
Right.
Good morning, Joe McPherson. Joyce.
Yes, so we're going to show you one place that's great for a trip with the family. It's not too far from Seoul, and it's right near the ocean, so it's full of great venues and great food. And so it makes for a great day trip. Let's go take a look.
It's wintertime, and you want to have some fun with the kids, but you're out of ideas. Well, why don't you come out here to Ansan? It's a little bit south of Seoul, and it has lots of great spots to enjoy with the whole family, and it has some delicious food, so let's go check it out. Our first stop in Ansan is the sledding slopes. Now, you can't have fun in winter without this. Not only is it fun for kids, it's fun for adults as well. So it's a great opportunity to have family fun together. It's a snow slide, let's go!
What's interesting about this place is that in the summer, you get water instead of snow. So you can enjoy it throughout the year.
Oh, here we go. Wow! Whoa! Whoa! Oh, here's a big one! Wow! Wow, that was good. That was really good. Let's do it again.
You're probably hungry after checking out the slopes, so there's this perfect place to fill your stomach up again. The name already runs expectations high. It's Young's Mayon Cheese Dungabi.
Oh yeah, look at this.
It's this unique dish that brings together a small octopus and pork belly. Sure to break you some sweat, and it has some cheese.
It's part of this wider trend of mixing cheese with really spicy foods. And the cheese helps relieve a good bit of the pain. But in this case, the cheese is off to the side in a classic fondue setup. How do you like that? Here we go, we got a little bit of pork and some octopus there. Wow!
Roll up your piece of meat in long strands of cheese and pop it in your mouth for a match made in heaven.
Mmm. 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 It's that combination of cheese and spicy. It's just heaven in your mouth. Delicious. It's a party. So if you're having a little cheese overload, how about some kimchi jjigae? The kimchi jjigae here with the pork ribs in it is something you should definitely check out. The jjigae itself comes with a really nice kick, and you get to enjoy some tender ribs cooked in a rich broth. Oh, so spicy, so good. Kimchi and ribs together. Oh my goodness, that's so good. We're now at the Gyeonggi Museum of Modern Art, where you can get a nice dose of art for the children. It's another must-see in Ansan. Nestled in a peaceful park, you can take a nice walk and enjoy nature.
Sometimes museums can be a bit dull and boring for the kids. But here they have a lot of bright, colorful installations on display that may help change their minds. You can take a stroll around the museum and enjoy a leisurely view of the creativity all around. Our second dish in Ansan is something everyone enjoys.
The Emperor's Seafood Bosam is loaded with seafood. Just looking at it makes you feel full. Comes with everything you can imagine coming from the sea. We have fresh oysters, abalone, shrimp, sea snails, seaweed, sea cucumber, kijoge, which is a large Korean clam, fermented skate, octopus, bosam pork, and this wonderful, fresh, fruity, and spicy kimchi that you just wrap everything all together and just stuff in your mouth.
The nice bouncy texture of the seafood, combined with soft, warm meat, create a great balance, stripping the taste clean of any fishy odors from the seafood and any heaviness from the meat.
The second dish is hot, spicy hemuchim. Let me tell you what's in this. Here we have some small baby octopus. We also have some squid, some calamari right there. We have little chunks of monkfish. And that's not all. We got lots of other seafood in this dish, and it's braised in this fiery hot sauce.
As you're enjoying these fresh dishes that are also good for your body, you can feel yourself warming up again from the inside.
And the bean sprouts help kind of cool it down a little bit. Oh, this is great.
So good.
There we go.
Tiny.
We couldn't wait until the report was over so we could just.
You were enjoying your breakfast a little bit early.
Right.
No, this is good. This is food that's so good that, yeah, I couldn't see how you could have resisted. It's kind of like putting the treat on the dog's nose and expecting it to wait and wait and wait. No, we're not gonna.
So show us how we do this. I mean, we saw in the video, right?
This is fun.
Let's take the lesson over here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's first get to this. This is what? This is the
nakji, which is the small octopus with samgyeopsal, which is pork. So it's very spicy.
Okay.
As we found out a little bit earlier.
And then these are basically seafood based.
And this is hemuchim, which is braised seafood generally. It generally has some octopus, some monkfish, some squid, some crab.
So go ahead,
all
make
this
one
nice spicy sauce.
Okay, we want that in there? Just put whatever you want in there. Are you supposed to put rice in there too?
If you want, I put rice in it.
You want that in there too?
No.
Let's go with that.
We're negotiating here. Okay, so let's put some
Look
cheese.
at that.
Pile some more on.
Okay, no, I know it's difficult.
Yeah,
it's difficult.
This can really cheesy.
Yeah, but you kind of use it as a sauce in this.
I think I'd say let's
use a spoon. Use a
exactly.
spoon.
Yeah,
Right?
spoon.
There you go. There you go. This is to help you build that muscle.
This is cheese overkill right here.
Build that muscle, Ginger.
Packed with protein.
Oh, that's gonna burn.
Okay. You guys go on.
No, we have to watch it. Just go
Really
ahead.
good. And tell us
it's
about
too
some of
big.
the seafood in here.
Okay, well, yeah, this one we basically just have octopus and pork in there, and this fondue. In the past we've seen the cheese galbi where it's in the pan. Well, one of the downsides of that is either the cheese can burn while you're cooking it, or when you turn it off, the cheese will get cold and hard. So when you have the cheese just in a nice little fondue pot where it's always in a liquefied state.
You can see that.
Right.
And so if we lose power, we have a candle
Of
now.
course.
That helps as well. Your cheese is always at the right consistency, and I like this idea of rather than dipping in the cheese, you use it as a sauce.
Right. Is it a faux pas to dip your food in the cheese? Is this like a no-no?
I guess it's such a new dish that we're still developing the etiquette for this.
Exactly, right? We just make our way.
I guess it's like a lot of other Korean dishes. The only thing you shouldn't put in there is your rice. Everything else.
Well, then in that case, let's just dip my rice in there. All right. Joe, you want one?
Yeah, sure. Wow.
And are there some tips you could give us on making some of these dishes?
Thanks. Yeah, well, hamuljeom is kind of like hamultang, but with the sauce. So hamultang is the big soup. Hamuljeom is like braised with the sauce. One way to make it a little thick is just using a little bit of starch. Not too much, but mix some starch in cold water, throw it into your sauce, and you end up with a nice thick, creamy sauce. I mean, creamy without any cream. Rich sauce for your seafood, yeah. And it really works well.
And these dishes are full with different kind of seafood and bean sprouts, so I guess there's a lot of nutrients to it.
Yeah.
True.
How nutritious can this be? I mean, really?
Well, for one
it
thing,
is good for you.
One thing, it is low fat, and some. Monkfish has collagen in it, and there are a lot of traditional health properties with octopus. Back in the day when you had like a sick cow, you would feed octopus to your cow.
I didn't know that.
To give it
That's so
energy, or
interesting.
for in bullfighting days, to do that to give energy to the bull. Yeah, I know cows are vegetarians. How are they eating octopus? But hey, somehow someone did it.
Recovered.
Yes. So if you want that extra energy, and also these are good dishes for both summer and winter. In summer, you want to fight heat with heat. In winter, you just want heat.
Yeah. So I mean, would this be like high on the Joe scale of spiciness?
I would say this would be. And that's up there as well. There are a few dishes that are a little spicier, I would say. Chicken feet, one.
But I mean, together with the cheese, I think that makes it, that just
it makes it a little bit easier.
Bit duller.
Yeah,
like
dulls it down
cake.
a bit.
Right.
Yeah, I think the spoon was such a
So we're gonna have a feast after we wrap up the show. All right, thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
All this food and that information. All right, see you
Thank
next
you.
week.
See you next week.
And that's just about it for this edition of Korea Today on this Friday.
All right, enjoy your weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday morning at 7 a.m.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers to that.